Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the line as he does every Friday on the show. He's from Cinemablend.com. He does really cool and interesting things with his hands. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
That was so good, man. That was a nice, like, sort of just stealth little. That was a nice stealth deploy of a joke there, where it derails the conversation, but in the best way possible. And I admire moments that come out of that sort of thing.
Who says it was a joke?
Well, true. I mean, there is a lot of typing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's what we're calling. Anyways. Mike,
Yeah.
Big week for Marvel as Thor Love and Thunder. Yeah, sorry, I just was like, let's just get into it. Thor Love and Thunder hit last night. You saw it last night. The wife and I actually going to a movie on a Saturday night. It's the first time in legitimately years that we're going to a movie on a Saturday night. Am I going to be pleased with what I see?
I think you will be. Wait, how much did you like Ragnarok?
I loved Ragnarok.
Then, depending on who you talk to, either this is good. Well, yeah, you're going to love it.
Cool.
It just depends on how much you're going to love it, because some people, I have a buddy of mine that saw it and said that he thought Ragnarok is still better, but I think this is better than Ragnarok, but not by much. So I don't think we really need to go through the story of it all, but the too long didn't read version of Thor Love and Thunder, Christian Bale plays a villain called Gore the God Butcher, and he wants to kill all gods because he has lost everything and gods only believe in themselves. And then this leads him to cross paths with Chris Hemsworth's Thor, who has recently been reunited with Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, who is the mighty Thor. Big difference. He's Thor. She's the mighty Thor.
Which is straight from the comic world.
Yes. And if you know how that whole thing plays out, that sort of tips you off to where some of the other nooks and crannies are going off to. I won't spoil anything here, but yeah, basically Thor, Valkyrie, Korg, and Jane Foster are all on a mission to stop Gore the God Butcher from getting what he wants.
Okay, that sounds cool. I like, I was watching on YouTube. They've got, some of the clips leading up to the movie and all that. And I love how Mjolnir and Stormbreaker seem to have personalities.
That is actually one of the things I liked best about this movie is the whole Stormbreaker thing. There are moments where this sentient weapon is portrayed like a jealous partner. And that is one of the more fun things that I think Taika Waititi threw in here. But sort of on the downside, it really, there's like a tonal balance that is not struck with Love and Thunder. Like there's pieces of this where, it kind of starts out as a Guardians movie, and then it sort of flips channels between like panel van art from the 80s and romantic comedy with a little bit of drama, and like all these other elements are just sort of thrown in there, and it's like it almost feels like more of a sampler platter than a full meal.
Okay.
And as such, there's some parts that I like more than others. I think Christian Bale's fantastic in this. I kind of wish that the whole movie opens with like a good maybe 5 minutes delving into his character and showing how he became the way he was, and then it's like, wow, like it was a real strong opening. And then it's like, okay, Thor and the Guardians, cool. And, Korg telling the story, cool. And it's good, but I think it's maybe mid-tier Marvel.
Okay.
Maybe lower mid-tier.
You know what I feel like the Marvel movies don't have recently in what? You have Thor, you have Doctor Strange 2, you had Black Widow, Eternals, Shang-Chi. Was there another one in there? Oh, Spider-Man No Way Home, which is I think is still clearly the best of what I've seen so far. At the beginning of Iron Man, we got that post-credit scene where it's like, hey, let's talk about the Avengers. So you knew it was going in that direction. I feel like since they did Endgame, it's been just kind of movies to be movies. It doesn't feel like they're focusing towards one thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah, there's still no clear goal as to where we're heading with Phase 4. It looked like there was when, they're talking about, multiverse. And then Thor just kind of doesn't do anything with the multiverse at all.
Yeah.
Like, at least not that I could see. There's like no multiverse in there, but I think Kevin Feige was saying something along the lines of like, oh yeah, we're going to be seeing some real big clues to what's going on in Phase 4 in Thor, and it's like, not really. I don't think so.
Yeah, I just feel like it's, and I should include the series as well. WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki. But it feels like it's all like they're in the same universe, but none of them are talking the same language right now.
Yeah, no, it's like, again, there's no clear roadmap. Here's what Kevin Feige was saying about when we'll find out, the next big saga. Like, the first big one was the Infinity Saga. So he said, as we're nearing the end of Phase 4, I think people will start seeing where this next saga is going. So I think there's have been many clues already that are at least apparent to me of where this whole saga is going. But we'll know a little more direct about that in the coming months to set a plan so audiences who want to see a bigger picture can see a tiny, tiny, tiny bit more of the roadmap. So end of Phase 4, we're supposed to find out when the next saga is, and they won't even tell you when Phase 4 ends. So it's like, okay, how long are you going to stretch this out without a plan?
That's kind of what it feels like. There's almost a feeling of we're buying time until we know exactly what we want to do. Which I don't listen. After you coming off, how many movies was it leading up to Endgame? 22, I think.
I think it was 22 when you include Endgame. Yeah.
I mean, you had your clear goal of you were going to do the Avengers at some point, and then the Avengers. Ooh, that's hard to say. Thereafter, like I don't mind them doing kind of singular movies, and maybe there's some clues in there, but I don't. And this is just coming from Guy in Iowa. It feels like you're buying time.
Well, trust me, Guy in New Jersey agrees with you because it's like, okay, cool. Things are going to happen. Trust the process. I can only trust the process so much. Before it's like, okay, do you really have this spreadsheet? Like, remember when we were being told that there was like all these diagrams and all these like timelines that are laid out in the Marvel offices, and it's like, this is coming here and this is going here.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, we were over at the theater last night, and yet again, there's a reminder that doesn't always work out because what banner is up right now? Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Because I was thinking, okay, it's Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It's melding in my mind probably because of the ADHD, and it was like, Panther, Wakanda.
No, it was very funny.
Like, getting mixed.
Because I got a image in my head of the Kung Fu Panda series, but in a Marvel universe, and I was like, I all of a sudden want to see that movie. No, it'd be awesome. But anyways, no, do you think? And this is just speculation here. Let me ask you something real quick. Do you think the acquisition of Fox and all the X-Men and Fantastic Four thing threw off their plan? Like maybe there was a very clear plan, and then they were gifted this whole other universe, and it's like, oh crap.
I don't think so.
Really? Okay.
I don't think so for the sheer fact that Marvel started out at Paramount and then jumped to Disney.
Yeah.
And I think there was no real huge shift in that plan, at least from what I understand.
All right.
I could be wrong, but I think that gave them more toys to play with. But what it may have done to muddy the waters is it may have given them like the urge to say, okay, we have to start laying down the tracks now. We have this plan, but how do we fit all this other stuff in here along with what we've got planned?
Yeah.
And again, circling back to what I was saying, there is a banner that only says Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and a release date. There is no trailer. There are no set photos. The only stuff that we've seen is maybe merch leaks, because I think Namor has finally been confirmed to be part of the new movie. But other than that, it's like, this movie's coming out in November. You would have at least had a trailer with Thor in the heavy machinery days.
Yeah.
Where it's like everything's just cranking out. It's like you would have had that trailer up with Thor. You would have had some sort of thing coming to Comic-Con. They might be. I know Marvel's going to Comic-Con, but I don't know how much Wakanda Forever they'll be doing. And I remember I was walking out of this movie, and it's like, wait, is this the last court-appointed Marvel movie I need to see this year? And then I remembered, oh yeah, Wakanda Forever still coming out, but I forgot for a moment because there's nothing doing on that front.
Yeah, it's an interesting world that Marvel is in right now. And again, I don't necessarily hate that there's no real, like, we don't know officially that we're going towards Secret Wars or Secret Avengers or, Galactus or Battle World.
Secret Wars is happening.
I know, but not in the movie sense. It's going to be a series, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, but it'll probably tie into, at the very least, the Marvels and Miss Marvel.
Yeah,
and
well, that's what I meant.
Captain Marvel.
That's more what I meant, that we know that it's going to be a series and that's not the arc of this of Phase 4. Anyways, Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com as we get out of the weeds here. Thor Love and Thunder, so you like it?
Yeah, it's good.
Boy, you went from really it sounded like you had a good time to boy, I just did not have fun last night.
No, I had fun. It's an okay movie. I give it a solid 3 out of 5.
Alrighty.
There's stuff that I like about it, but I feel like it does kind of meander, and it doesn't mix it doesn't have its cake and eat it too as much as it wants.
I like the sampler platter part. I thought that was a really fun way of talking about a movie. It's a sampler platter, but no real meal. So I like it.
Thank you. I like that too.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining us. That kind of does it for releases this week, right?
Yeah, that's the only big who would have thought that Marvel would be the only studio to have a big movie out this week? I mean, people don't want to compete with Marvel.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
That worked out so well for so many other Disney-related movies last December, because Nightmare Alley and The King's Man and West Side Story were all, smash hits against No Way Home.
Oh boy. Mike Reyes.
Although there is one thing I will mention.
Okay, go ahead.
I found it weird that there were commercials running for Thor Love and Thunder on YouTube yesterday. And there was a phrase that I never thought I'd see on a Marvel commercial.
What's that?
Tickets still available.
Oh.
Yeah, that's I don't know why you would advertise that. I thought that was really weird where it's tickets still available. And it's A, this is a Thor movie. B, you're really going to admit that?
Yeah, but you know what? You say that. I went to, they said tickets on sale a couple weeks ago. They made a big deal out of it, how they've been doing, I went to buy my tickets for a Saturday night show the other day, and the theater was empty at that point. And this was on probably Tuesday or Wednesday. And we were the only two people that had bought, and it's not like this is an old crappy movie theater or anything like that. It's one of the bigger ones in the area. But yeah, it was empty.
Yeah, that was weird because I waited a couple days, and then the tickets to the showing I got last night, it was still a pretty packed one by the time we got in there. It was decently filled. But before I got it, there was only a couple seats here and there sold, and I think part of it was because it was a showing where it's look, anybody under 21, anyone under 18 has to be in here with someone over 21 and ID verifiable. The showing was closed off to anyone, basically closed off to any kids without parental or some sort of guardian accompanying them.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's going to sell out. That's not going to sell out as quickly as, say, oh, there's a showing at 7 o'clock and everyone's kids are allowed in here.
Yeah. All right. Well, all right. So that kind of does it for Thor Love and Thunder. We spent a lot of time on that, but I'm looking forward to it. It should be a good time.
It's the movie of the weekend. So, Russell Crowe's silly accent alone proves that. He was a lot of fun in there, too. Russell Crowe was a lot of fun. But again, I wanted more Russell Crowe. But Thor Love and Thunder, go see it.
All right. Over in the world of movie news, yesterday we got the sad news that James Caan unfortunately passes away at the age of 82. That one kind of came out of nowhere, and I haven't seen if he was ailed with something or if it was just old age or what was going on. But James Caan gone at the age of 82.
Yeah, that was something that hit us all with a huge surprise when we were in the newsroom yesterday, because there was no signal of him being ill. In the past couple years, he'd been really active on Twitter, and just was a wonderful personality to see on there. And he had a trademark at the end of whatever he said, he would say "end of tweet," and he was just he was very. The man was pithy. The man knew how to tell a story, and that's something that came out even more yesterday. Because I did a whole roundup of the tributes that people were paying to him, and apparently Jennifer Tilly got a great story out of him about how he would screw around with Francis Ford Coppola. I guess it was on the set of The Godfather. He would eat his sandwiches randomly. So what James Caan did the one time was stuffed jalapenos and spicy stuff in there, and then one day Francis grabs a sandwich and it happens, and he's like, what did you do to me? And then apparently James Caan just looks at him and says, did I ask you to eat my sandwich? Did I?
Oh, that's wonderful.
The people had nothing but great stories about him to tell, and of course everybody goes straight to The Godfather.
Yeah.
because Sonny Corleone was just this amazing role where like I still imagine him beating the crap out of Carlo
Yeah.
in the street, and it's just that long take where he's like wailing on this guy. And for most people, they remember the tough guy. But then you really look at James Caan's roles. I mean, he's also, the man that was terrorized by Kathy Bates in Misery. He was Buddy the Elf's biological dad in Elf. He's the voice of Flint Lockwood's dad in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. The man really could do pretty much anything.
He was in Get Smart, which we talked about last week.
Oh, okay. So he was not only in the Get Smart movie because he had that cameo as the president, he was in an episode uncredited because I think he was friends with Don Adams, and he did it as a favor for him. If I read this correctly on Wikipedia, I could be wrong. But so that's how deep he was with Get Smart. And even in that small role, like, he killed it.
Yeah.
And like, I remember him, I've never seen the whole movie, but I remember seeing bits and pieces of Eraser and just seeing how like happy he was to be like this sort of cartoonish action villain.
Oh God, Eraser was bad.
Really? Because I've heard some good things about it.
Okay, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it was awful, but if you watch enough Arnold movies, it's not one of my favorites because it's kind of the same old with him.
Yeah, I get it. It's like sometimes you get something new and exciting, and sometimes you get something that's just very familiar. Don't mind the noise in the back. I'm just making an espresso.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. But yeah, I mean, he had that. He did the one with Adam Sandler, which apparently Sandler put out.
Two with Adam Sandler.
What was the two? That's My Boy.
He was in Bulletproof.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Bulletproof. I forgot about Bulletproof.
And Adam Sandler was someone who was like, he had just, I think his was the first tribute post I saw after the news. And it was really sweet. And like, that's, you want to talk about hidden depths. That's a side of Adam Sandler I don't think a lot of people really think of. And that just reminds me even more of how, like, yeah, James Caan was in The Godfather, but he had so many of these other movies where he did all these different things. And like, he gets some really heartfelt stuff in Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah.
Like, that whole father-son storyline is just really touching. And even Elf.
You know what? This may go against a lot of people. I think him and Elf is probably my favorite. If I was going to put on one James Caan movie to watch and just enjoy, I think it's Elf.
I don't know which one I would pick, but I can't blame you for that because, again, he gets to play wise-ass, sarcastic the wise-ass, sarcastic guy who's like, yeah, my kid's a man-child. But then as the movie goes on, they really dig into the sort of, not tragedy, but the heart that comes out of the fact that he's reconciling with this son that he gave up so long ago. And, like, that's not something you would expect when people keep saying Godfather, Godfather. It's like when Ray Liotta passed, everybody kept talking about Goodfellas. But there's so many other things that he did that he was so good in. The man did 2 different Muppet movies.
Dick Tracy, Misery, Alien Nation. I'm just reading off.
So good in Dick Tracy.
Godfather, Godfather 2, Rollerball, which I don't remember. That's a 75 movie.
Yeah, the original Rollerball, not the remake.
Yeah. But, I mean, that, and he did a ton of TV as well, especially lately.
He was on Las Vegas.
Yeah. So,
like, he started that before, I know Tom Selleck came in towards the end, but he, like, started that show.
Yeah, so, if I was going to put on one, it'd probably be Elf. And listen, I get the Godfather stuff. I like the Godfather. I think they're great movies and all that. But I don't know why, I like Elf.
It's warm. It's comforting. I mean, you have to be in the right mood to watch The Godfather. I love The Godfather. I could probably flip it on at any point, but the thing is, I see your point because Elf is just something that's consistently warm and cheerful, but also doesn't, isn't too sugary.
Yeah.
And I really think the more I talk about it, the more I think about James Caan's role in the movie, I think I'm overdue to watch Elf again because there was a certain time where I was just kind of like falling out of favor with it.
Yeah.
And I think it was because of all the hype surrounding the memes surrounding the Buddy the Elf character and like people really taking that to heart. And it's like, but there's all of this other rich material here that you're leaving out.
All right. So James Caan, gone at the age of 82. We wish you nothing but the best in the great beyond, sir. Was there any other news to go to this week? I know there was a couple quick hits we wanted to do, but is any other news you wanted to talk about?
I'm not really sure about news. I mean, there was people are apparently complaining about Ryan Gosling's platinum blonde hair as Ken.
Oh, people just
there was a
find
rumor
reasons
that
to complain about anything now.
Yeah, and I love how Eva Mendes is like, you guys know that he's playing a doll, right? That he's not playing a real person.
That's the best.
Armie Hammer was rumored to be giving tours in the Cayman Islands working as a concierge, but that was disproven because it was a big prank that someone had done with like a flyer.
Yeah.
And like it circulated on the internet, like, is this what he's really doing? And it's like, no, he's just staying out there. Like, he's a regular in that area, and it's just,
that's funny.
It is what it is, but he's not doing it.
You want to wrap up the Stranger Things and the Strange New World stuff?
Yeah, we may as well. Let's get strange.
Okay, let's get strange.
Doctor Strange.
Over in the world, and it is kind of more TV, but I mean, if you put the last two episodes of Stranger Things 4 together, they're a movie. Let's face it here. That's what they are.
That finale was a movie. And I will not be convinced otherwise.
It was 2.5 hours. It's like you can't make this 4 or 5 episodes out of an hour and a half and 2.5. What is that? That's 4 episodes, right?
Kinda, yeah. Like,
I mean, it's close.
Yeah, because you would basically run about an hour. Yeah, you'd basically run about an hour with like a streaming show. But what's funny is there's that one scene where like Vecna's cornering Max, and he's like, "It'll all be over soon." So me being a smartass, I paused it to see where the episode was in its running time. That was an hour before the episode ended.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
I mentioned that to my wife, and she's like, an hour?
Just kind of in the world of statistics, if you've seen it, you know that Metallica's Master of Puppets, it plays a really big part in it's the last episode, isn't it?
Yeah. And that is probably the moment that I love the best from that episode.
So one of the guy, I'm on a mailing list for one of Metallica's record reps for when they're doing stuff, It's kind of a radio thing. Yeah. They sent out statistics for Master of Puppets.
Ooh.
Daily on-demand U.S. audio streams have gone up over 400% since last Thursday. Spotify, it's number 6 on the U.S. top 50, over 2.8 million Spotify single streams per day. Shazam, Master of Puppets, is the number 3 Shazamming song in the U.S. The number 2 song on iTunes. Master of Puppets is number 11 on iTunes album sales. Stranger Things soundtrack is number 1 on Amazon. Master of Puppets is the number 9 selling album on Amazon, and there's a ton more. I mean, that goes to show you if you put the right music in something, like it can just be good for everybody.
Oh yeah, and that's just on top of how Kate Bush basically made. I think someone said that she had made around $250,000 just because of all the plays that came out of Stranger Things, inspiring people to go listen to Running Up That Hill.
Yeah.
And another really cool thing about the Metallica bit is, I think someone on either Facebook or one of the social media platforms, a fan was talking Metallica like, how do you feel about like all these people coming in because of Stranger Things? And like they're basically trying to like I guess someone thought that they would get a response saying, oh, they're posers, they're false metal.
No.
But the Metallica account replied like, we're cool with it. If they like Master of Puppets, they'll probably dig some of our other stuff. We're glad to welcome these people.
The episodes aside, I thought the second half of Stranger Things season 4, the first 4 episodes I don't care about. There's nothing in there that I like seeing, and nor did I care about at all. The last like 3. I forget where it's like the last 3 episodes. I really dug. I thought it felt like Stranger Things. It wasn't just teenagers being, assholes to each other and all that. But yeah, that's where I'm at on it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still off this train.
Yeah, I know.
But even with the final couple episodes, there were some things that I thought were handled well. I thought Max and Mike's relationship finally started to kind of make sense. I was glad to see Hopper and Joyce being cute together. Murray with a flamethrower was something that I think Murray might be one of the MVPs this season. Murray, Erica, and Eddie are like the MVPs of this season because
totally.
Murray that is a character that was so easy to just keep doing, like, oh, he's just going to be this funny comic relief guy, and he's going to say he knows stuff and then doesn't. And then he, like, knows Russian and can actually defend himself. And Erica continues to be someone where they knew what that character was supposed to be.
Yeah.
They've stuck with that character from frame one, and she's never made a decision that goes against her character. And that's part of some of the stuff that I felt some of that was present in that finale with other characters. But Erica's she's always been Erica. She's always going to be Erica. And I am there for it.
Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joining me. All right, we're going to wrap up real quick. Strange New Worlds, the Star Trek show on Paramount Plus, wrapped up its first season last night. I don't want to go into too many of the spoilers on it in case people haven't watched it. I just want to say one thing about it. So if you don't want to know anything about it, just stop here and thanks for listening. But the final episode of the season, they do a little bit of a time jump, and if you watch from when Pike showed up in Discovery to now, it all kind of ties together. But it's a really well done Star Trek episode, which you do get to see the maroon movie uniforms in a Star Trek series.
Ooh,
yeah, that was kind of cool. But they do a time jump, and they
throw in a little more background there.
What's that?
So we're a little more background there. The maroon movie uniforms. Are you talking like the next gen cast uniforms?
No, from like Star Trek, Wrath of Khan to Undiscovered Country. Those maroon.
Gotcha. Original cast.
Yeah, they did kind of a little bit of an update, but put them more into this Star Trek universe. But it's the monster maroon, so it's very cool. They introduced Captain Kirk in it, which wasn't a bad thing. And the way they did it was really interesting. It wasn't like they were like handing off the series to him or anything. He was just a character in this future, right?
Yeah.
If you remember Jim Carrey doing James Kirk in Living Color, I got so many vibes from that. It just the way he looked, the character, the guy that they chose to play Kirk. I don't know, man. It was just one of those things. I kept thinking about it and I couldn't get it out of my head. And it's not like he did a bad job. He wasn't overly endearing like James Kirk usually is, but especially next to Pike, who people love Captain Pike right now in the Star Trek universe.
Oh, I have definitely been hearing that. I've heard Anson Mount has been nothing but like crushing it with this.
But it just, every once in a while, the pacing and the way he'd kind of like tilt, I think it was more kind of the head tilt. It screamed Jim Carrey from In Living Color doing James D. Kirk, and it was very funny to me.
Oh, man. I kind of wish that was streaming somewhere.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pull it up on YouTube today. But anyways, no, it was it's probably one of the best episodes of Star Trek that's come out in a while.
And what would you say about the season as a whole? Or even the series as a whole? Because this is which season is this?
This is the first season of Strange New Worlds, but Pike showed up in season 2 of Star Trek Discovery. Him, Spock, and number 1.
Yeah.
Listen, no first season of Star Trek is ever perfect, but they got a lot right with this series. Of all of Discovery, of Picard, even of Lower Decks, if you want to jumble that in there, and the movies, Star Trek Strange New Worlds is the most Star Trek feeling series, or, if you throw the movies in there, just event. Production, there you go, production that it feels the most Star Trek. It feels the most like what is good about it with, really cool sets and costuming and all that.
Sure. Well, I'm really glad to, I'm excited to check that out myself, because I still need to renew my Paramount Plus and dig into the stuff I meant to. But so that's the season finale of Star Trek Strange New Worlds this week, and all episodes are on Paramount Plus, correct?
Yeah. And listen, Discovery, I'm not a fan of Discovery, or at least not overly. I'll watch it. Like, I still haven't watched. I've watched everything but the season finale of Star Trek Discovery. Lower Decks is supposed to be a cartoon funny show in the Star Trek world, which is fine. I've got no issue with that. Picard was meant to be something different, and the Abrams universe is, it is what it is. This one feel like, if you're a traditionalist when it comes to Star Trek, this is the one that you're like, okay, I get this.
Well, yeah, because it also looks like the one that's just taken the most time to sort of dig back into that traditional look.
It is, but there's like there's little callback, like they may change some of the continuity a little bit, but it's nothing offensive.
Yeah.
You know, that I think that's the big thing of it. It's like, okay, we understand that they're working with a much different budget and technology than they had in the 60s when they were building the Enterprise, you know?
Yeah.
There's stuff like that it's not it makes sense, the changes they've made. So there you go. There you have it. Mike Reyes from Cinemablend.com joins me every week to talk about movies and stuff. Yeah, because we talk about stuff.
And stuff.
Mike, we'll end it there. You have yourself a great weekend, okay?
You as well, sir. Hope you enjoy Thor.
Thank you.